Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, September 29th. Satellite imagery this morning. We do have quite a bit of clouds moving across the area in the north. You can see how quickly they're moving. That's indicative of the strong upper level winds. If we look at satellite imagery from yesterday, you see some of that extreme fire activity blowing up over western Wyoming. Some of our fires also perking up over Idaho later in the day, so fuels are definitely drying out. And we have big issues in the short term. A strong cold front producing strong gusty winds, 20 to 30 miles an hour, gusts of 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour across parts of Idaho and Wyoming. We'll continue with those winds lingering in eastern areas on Monday. No significant impacts on Tuesday, but it will be, again, warm and dry. Fuels continuing to dry out. No precipitation or lightning past 24 hours. Light initial attack overall. We did have over 3,500 acres of fire growth on existing fires. You can see how dry it's been. 7 days, nothing in the past 7 to 10 days. Precipitation probabilities bone dry, less than 10%. You can see our ERCs, how much they've dried out in the past couple of days. A lot more 90th percentiles in the red, 80th percentiles in the orange, and even up north, a lot of areas drying out considerably in Wyoming, also along the Sierra front as well, and that trend is going to continue. You can see on the 100-hour fuels this dark gold area that covers the southern two-thirds of the Great Basin, even gets up into parts of Idaho. I would say covering about 80% of the Great Basin is in the mid to upper single digits, so it's dried out considerably. Those are basically late August averages. And looking at some of our particular stations on the ERCs, so looking up here on the Salmon Chalice, you can see where our ERCs are compared to normal on the gray line, and the green line is the projection of 7 days of continued warming and drying, taking it near record levels and basically not too far from late summer normals. Similar story for western Wyoming, currently well above the normal. Not too far from late summer normals, and by the time we get into days 5 through 7, getting up towards the 80th percentile and basically exceeding what we normally get in August up in western Wyoming. So just a sign of the drying. And here's the upper level map. Tight packing of these yellow height lines, strong upper level winds. You see this wind barb here of 60 knots just above the ridges. A lot of that's going to, at least two-thirds of that's going to mix down towards the surface. So we have issued high risk for winds, low humidity for portions of the Idaho mountains into western Wyoming. There'll be some breezes a bit further west, but this is where they'll be consistently more above the 30 to 40 mile an hour range. You can see those winds through here in the orange and purple shades, and they get stronger as you go towards Wyoming. Humidity in the teens up north, so definitely dry enough, single digits down south. An experimental hot, dry, windy index shows the high probabilities near the 100th percentile for parts of eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Monday, September 30th, we are looking at the front pushing through, cooler air on northwest winds, but still dry. So we still have a concern for downsloping winds off the eastern Wasatch into the Uinta Basin, also continuing across parts of western Wyoming. You can see those winds here in the orange, not quite as strong, but still gusting to 30. It'll be the second day of wind, so a lot of the surface fuels would have already been dried out from the first days of the day of the wind. Humidity, again, down into the teens in a lot of areas. Now, on Tuesday, high pressure builds in, so the winds will start slackening off, but you can see how much of our PSAs have dried out into that critically dry area, just with not having any precip for the past 14 days. Winds, fairly light slope-driven winds, though still lingering breezy conditions in parts of western Wyoming. Humidity still quite dry. No precip next 3 days, and going down the week, not much precip in sight. High pressure continues to gradually build in and actually strengthens. Thursday, look at our PSAs, mostly all in the brown except for some of the higher elevations. And then high pressure continuing to build in on Friday, hot and dry. High pressure starts to weaken a little bit Saturday. There are some indications, maybe some cloud buildups, maybe an isolated shower over the highest peaks of the central Nevada mountains. Still uncertain. Next cold front waiting in the wings could produce some winds later on in the period. 7-day outlook, precip could be a brief sprinkle up north, but basically not much, and not much in the 8 to 14-day outlook also. Warmer than normal, much drier than normal. This is taking us through the second week of October. Concludes our briefing. Have a great day.